Good evening, guys. This afternoon, I want us to check on questions that trigonometry because you are going to write paper 2, and then we need to do some problems relating to topics that we know they require a challenge. So here, I have one question which says, if 4 tan alpha is equals to 3, determine cos squared alpha minus sin alpha. This question rate 5 marks. So, more. Without using a calculator, it means that the reduction formula. So let's say without using a calculator. Without using a calculator, you can use reduction formula. You can use SOHCAHTOA. You can use special angles. You can use square identities. You can use theorem of Pythagoras. So all these methods or all these things that I have outlined here, they will enable you to determine or to calculate without using a calculator. So now, reduction formula. The reduction formula, you have a Cartesian plane, you have cast. So, reduction formula or cast. Okay? Because you say all ratios in the first quadrant are positive, and Kara first quadrant we get 90 minus theta. Kara sign which is positive, we get 90 plus theta. And we also have 180 degrees minus theta. And then your tan 180 degrees plus theta and 270 degrees minus theta. And then when you talk about cos is 270 plus theta and 360 degrees minus theta. So not only does in the first quadrant we have 90 degrees minus theta, we also have 360 degrees minus theta. So it means that quadrant each and every quadrant that you have in a the values tsa yona telo o ka di shumisha o humana or udira reduction formula. Now this means this is our first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and our fourth quadrant. So these 4 quadrants a reduction formula di so. Now how wanna SOHCAHTOA a ke re tseba re soccer 2 e ra gore sine opposite over hypotenuse, cos adjacent over hypotenuse, tan opposite over adjacent is 2 opposite over adjacent. So now it means we are only looking at triangles. We are looking at right angled triangles. So we can only use SOHCAHTOA if we have right angled triangle. And this also goes together with special angles. Because the special angles are right angled triangles. Now, this, we also have the square identities. Square identities are next. You have sine squared theta plus cos squared theta, which in most cases we say is equals to 1. Okay? And then from there, we have theorem of Pythagoras, which is r squared equals to x squared plus your y squared, where this is the side of hypotenuse squared equals to x squared plus y squared. Not necessarily that every time this is x and this is y. Sometimes it can be opposite squared plus adjacent squared, or adjacent squared plus opposite squared. So I'm just using x and y because we are working with right angle triangle. So these things, SOHCAHTOA, special angles, and theorem of Pythagoras, di bereka kudu ge re na leng a right angle triangle. So now, why this square identity? Sometimes they will give you an equation wherein in a square identity ka, and it's your responsibility to know or to see or na square identity, whatever ratio we're feeling on a square identity, e a kgona gore e change from sine to cos or from cos to sine na. Now, ke beile question gore re treat rate. So sa mathomo, every time ge o bona ba re if ba fetša wa offer statement ka mo. In other words, ba re use this statement to solve this problem. They are not saying that you should solve for theta. So they give you 4 tan alpha equals to 3. Wow, fun because you are going to adopt SOHCAHTOA. So I wrote them SOHCAHTOA. Now we have 4 tan alpha equals to 3. And tan alpha is equals to 3 over 4. This is because we divide here by 4 and we also divide this one by 4. So the 4 will cancel 4. Ka tan alpha equals 3 over 4. Ge re lebeletse tan, mo dima SOHCAHTOA e re botša eng? Tan. Tan e re, tan of any angle e re botša this is opposite over adjacent. So meaning that 3 is the opposite side and 4 is our adjacent side. So now, this tan alpha equals to 3 over 4. Now you draw a triangle. Triangle how is even a right angle triangle. Okay, pšhiretše. Ge ba o file equation ya o tshwana le ba re 4 tan alpha equals to 3. In other words, they want you to utilize this for you to be able to solve this one. So we are going to take this right simplify, or on the left hand side re shall ka tan alpha, and on the right hand side re shall ka di-values tša rena or ratio ya rena. Now re bile le 4 tan alpha equals to 3. So if we want tan to be alone, we are going to divide both sides by 4. That is why I divide by 4, divide by 4. Now after dividing by 4, it means that 4 goes once into 4, then re shall ka tan alpha equals to 3 over 4. Ge re ka ya ko hodima sokatho, tan e re botsa gore na leng opposite a ke re ke thoa she e re na le opposite over adjacent. So we are going to write opposite over adjacent. I mean that tan alpha is equals to opposite over adjacent. Ora ya ka hodimo ke opposite, ya ka fase e represent adjacent. That is why re ngwala 3 is the opposite side and 4 is the adjacent side. Now we draw a right angle triangle. It doesn't matter whether right angle triangle o e lebella kwa or right angle triangle how e lebella kwa. As long as mo o ka kgona go bontsha gore this is 90 degrees and le mo ke 90 degrees. Now where is your alpha? Your alpha always angle how e tsamaisana le x-axis. So your alpha will be here, and e ka lebella mo e tsamaisana le x-axis, or our alpha will be here. But because it's tan, it says opposite. This is our opposite, and then this is our adjacent. So how much is the opposite? Kwa erke 3. And then how much is our adjacent? Erke 4. So now wa bona re shota ka eng? Re shota ka r. If re shumisha eng? Theorem of Pythagoras. Re na le x, the x ke adjacent, y is vertical, ke opposite. So that we are going to utilize that. And if we draw ile ka mokgwa, it means that this side, vertical side, is the opposite, and ke 3. And the horizontal side, ke adjacent, and ke bukae? Ke 4. So la nomoro shota ka bukae? Ka r. So it doesn't matter necessarily or now o draw a triangle o lebeletse kae. So ge re ka lebelela re na le r, but the value of r is unknown for us. That is when we are now going to use theorem of Pythagoras. So theorem of Pythagoras must be utilized. Why reshimisha theorem of Pythagoras? So we know how much r is. Because question ela ba re fileng yona e ka ra eng sokatho. Re na le sine somewhere ebile re na le cos somewhere. So because re tla be re shumisha hypotenuse, and more bontshitse hypotenuse is our r. R rena ke yona side of hypotenuse. So it means that we are going to say r squared is equals to x squared plus your y squared. Now, how much is your x? X is the horizontal line. X is our horizontal line, and our horizontal line was 4 units, which we are going to square because Kamornal is square. And then our y is a vertical line. Horizontal line is so, and a vertical line is so. So plus our y is 3 squared. So 4 squared is 16 plus 3 squared is 9. Then from there, we say that our r squared is equals to 25. because this side we have r squared and this side we have 25, we are not looking for r squared. We are looking for r. So how do we make r squared to be r? We square root both sides. And remember that r is a radius and is always positive. This statement is very important. It's very important because re square a number, if we put a square root of a number, we must put plus or minus. So this square will cancel the square root, rashalaka r is equals. But when we square 25, we must put plus minus 5. But because this is r and r is a radius and is always positive, it means that we are going to neglect the negative side. So we are going to take r as positive, therefore it will be 5. So now, if we complete our triangle here, it means that our r is equals to 5. And then our r is also equals to 5. Ge o ka lebella from this sketch, on a complete sketch, it means that re na le a sketch that is drawn like this, and this is our alpha, which is our angle. This is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and that is our 90 degrees. That is when we can only use soccer toe. Rashimisha theorem of Pythagoras. Rashimisha the special angles. Mara special angles in this case are same because this triangle is not a special triangle. Now, here is we check on now what the question was. The question was determine. The question was determine. What are we determining? Or cos squared alpha. Again, minus sine alpha. We must determine this. Determine cos squared alpha minus sine alpha without using a calculator. Now, this is our question. Is equals to. We want to cos A squared. Put a bracket and we square. Minus. Put this sine alpha. Put brackets. You're not in a square, so don't square it. Then we go to our soccer toe. So our soccer toe, what is the first ratio that is given? Is cos. The cos of an angle is equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. So when you are positioning yourself next to the alpha, more angle ke alpha. If you put yourself on the angle of alpha, this is your adjacent side, and this one is your hypotenuse side. So that one adjacent and hypotenuse, because it's cos. I got cos adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, what is your adjacent? Your adjacent is 4 over what is your hypotenuse? Your hypotenuse is 5. Or this is your hypotenuse, that is your adjacent. Now you come to this one. This one says sine is negative scalar, sine alpha. Now we go and check sine. Sine says opposite and hypotenuse. So opposite, the opposite side is the side far from where you are. So opposite ke ka. So that where you situate yourself the angle that is far from you is called an opposite side. Now, what is the opposite side in this case? What is the value? Sorry, what is the value of the opposite side? The opposite side is 3. And what did we say about the hypotenuse side? The hypotenuse side we said is 5. So Rarmo, you did not use a calculator. Okay? Now, from there, we are arriving to the solution. Ge o square 4, o ra re over 4 squared over 5 squared. This means that ge re lebeletse 2 ye ke ya 4 ebile 2 ye ke ya 5. So, but it is an exponent. O ra re ke 4 exponent 2, 5 exponent 2. So, which must subtract 3 over 5. Then from there, you have 16 over 25 minus 3 over 5. From here, Mkhotswa, press the calculator. Press the calculator for you to get the solution. This is what you are going to do. You are going to say 16 divided by 25 minus 3 over 5 equals. Then you find that your answer is 1 over 25. I guess my calculator serves me well. So the solution is 1 over 25. So this is how you get your 5 marks. So far, this question is let's meet again ka the next lesson, which we are going to do another problem. Thank you very much.